hello, and welcome back to another episode of Raw Thoughts with your boy, Dre Samp. If you're new to the show, what we do on this show is basically I wake up, have a morning cup of coffee, and I talk about what's happening in my brain. So I hope you guys are doing well. I actually have plenty to talk about today because I had a breakthrough yesterday. Yes, if I was editing this, I would do like, and there would be like claps and cheers and stuff like that. All right, guys, breakthrough day. So just to recap, like I've been wanting to, obviously create content, document content, but as I started narrowing, I was doing TikTok and I was just creating dumb videos, and I started to realize that, well, one, I had a one viral video, but it wasn't, I maybe gained 100 followers, and I realized that this is not I don't want to take this route, right? Like it could be done, thinking of more and more funny stuff, but like there's already funny people and there's already fans that are following their favorite funny comedians, and all I'm doing is just ripping off those people that I see because I'm seeing success. So I had to pivot away from trying to be exclusively funny on TikTok. I was going to make 7 posts a day, and I was just like, this isn't going to happen quick enough. And also I don't feel good about it. I don't feel happy. I feel like a slut, like a slave to, I don't like using slave as a black person. I was just telling my sister that yesterday. I don't like using slave as an adjective, or as a verb, to slave, to do something. Yeah, right. What was I getting? What the point was I getting to? Oh, it's just like doing all this dumb shit, all these videos for like, I don't feel a sense of pride in these videos. And then I started looking at all of these other accounts that were exploding outside of comedy, like things that were popping up on my For You page and like channels, and why. What I found interesting, and it kept on going back to, and also when I was doing research for like starting up a YouTube, it kept on going back to like niching. What's your niche, right? But even before that, what's the value that you're delivering? So regardless of your niche, it doesn't matter. The very most important thing is, what's the value that you're offering? Why would people watch this, right? Why would people trade a portion of their lives to watch something that you made? Because that's essentially what's happening. You're saying, give me 2 minutes of your life, and I will give you 2 minutes of entertainment, knowledge, something, whatever. I'm getting a little distracted again. I'm keep on losing my place in my head. Talking about these. Oh yeah, just so what kind of value are you providing? And I realized if I was doing comedy, and here was the big breakthrough, because on TikTok you can open up your TikTok on the web desktop, and it'll show you your suggested people, your suggested accounts, and those accounts are your niche, right? That's what TikTok, the algorithm, has paired you in. So like the people that you click over on that right hand side, those are all the people that TikTok thinks you're like. Essentially, you're the same person. And it's really scary once it groups you, because there's just a bunch of curly-headed black people trying to be funny, and it was also by follower count too. So like 5,000 and down. So I was in like the 0 to 5,000 funny, attempting to be funny black people, right? And I realized I had like 500 likes, or 500 followers, but there was a guy with like 10,000 followers or 4,000 followers, and he had like 10 times the amount of likes I had. So I realized it was an uphill battle. And also all the comedians that I was looking at, they were so much farther ahead of this. And it's like, all right, to do comedy, this is dumb. All right, so what value, right? Because if you're just doing straight up comedy, what value are you providing? Yeah, you're providing laughter, right? But if I'm not enjoying this and people aren't enjoying this, I can't continue to do this. So that's when I first began to pivot, to shift. Of course, this was like 48 hours ago. So I thought I was going to do comedy, but not like skits, not sketches, not posting my stand-up clips. But I realized I started listing all the comedians like online that I liked on YouTube and on TikTok that weren't doing stand-up or weren't doing improv or weren't doing pre-formed sketches, but were doing something different. And I tried to figure out what the similarity was between all of them and why I liked them. And I realized all the reasons why I liked all these, like it was like Gerald Houston and like Trav K, and there's others. But what they're doing is they're doing comedy, and it makes me crack up so much more. But they're not doing skits, they're not doing sketches, they're not doing stand-up clips. They're all just, it's interacting with people that are going about their day-to-day lives. And both in Trav K and Gerald Houston's case, they're kind of like trolling people, playing with people, or like bending expectations, but really they're playing with people, right? And a lot of times the person, the victim doesn't really know that they're in on the joke, but they're not really suffering. It's just like Gerald Houston going up and hugging a random person and calling them their like second grade teacher, and them trying to run away. That's hilarious for me. So I wanted to get doing some sort of comedy like that, right? All right, so how can I provide value? And so I was like, all right, I could do man on the street stuff, even though people are already doing that, but there could be more value in that, and I could go out and record with Fran, man on the street stuff. And then I kept on thinking about like what is my, let me go through my notes. Yeah, so it's all about trying to build Dre Samp, right? And I was trying to figure out how I could provide value through comedy. So I was trying to figure out some way that I could go out and about and it would be entertaining and be similar to what these other Gerald and Trav K are doing, but set me apart. And yeah, so I saw a little, and that's still there. Like that's my personality, but I realized if I wanted to develop a brand, build something, what value could I offer? What was I good at? What could I talk about? And what could I help people at? And it's like comedy, right? I don't want to teach people yes and, right? I don't want to teach people how to do stand up. And I couldn't, right? I'm not in that place yet. It's like, how can I teach? Well, what value? Well, and what are my interests, right? And so I wrote down a list. Like comedy was the first one, but then as far as like making my discovering my niche and like starting to create content for a specific niche, I had wrote down comedy, making money online, playing the bass, money management, entrepreneur, alpha male game, ultimate confidence, digital marketing, personal branding, health and fitness, dating, relationships, wealth building. Like those were all my interests. But then I read something also was also very interesting that said like your niche needs to be something obviously that you're passionate about and that you could talk a lot about, and it needs to be something that you're very knowledgeable about and not just have an interest in, right? And so like that, unfortunately, I mean that was big for me because like I like entrepreneur or like health and fitness, like those things I could see, or like music production, right? I was just thinking about just like, oh, I'm just going to produce music, but I realized like there's so many other people that are doing that all the time, nonstop, and like they can teach that, and they're good at that, and they could like their head is just bubbling around with that information. And I realized I can't teach that, right? I would have to be learning that, and it would take me years to get to that point and then to be able to provide value. Until then, I would just be trying to learn on my own and looking at other people, right? Looking at their value, hoping to absorb some of it. So it's like, what can I do? Comedy, right? Talking to people. So it's like comedy, talking to people. What is that? Where am I? Vlogging. Where am I? Talking to people in real life, and then I'm sure. Then the connection starting to build, where it's like delivering value, teaching people something, but also how can I do it while being funny and talking to people? And what do I know a lot about? So talking to people, I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at going up, talking to girls. I'm good. And then I wrote this all. I was like, yeah, so it's like, what value, right? What value? So even if I was funny, it's like I'm teaching them how to, I'm giving them entertainment. I'm making them relax, which is great. Which is what my desire, my ultimate goal as a comedian. Before this platform, I realized that there's a bunch of people and this was the thing. There's comedians on that app were a dime a dozen, right? It doesn't take anything to say you're a comedian besides pressing record and going, yeah! Right? And making a funny face or following a trend. And so it's a lot harder to break through because the barrier of entry is so low. So it's, so I was like, well, okay, so talking to people, comedy, and then it started bubbling or like talking to people, talking to game, that's always been a thing. And then I thought like, oh, maybe I could like record myself. It could be like a game channel where I like record myself like going out and approaching, and I've seen things like that. And then the other part of like what your niche is, what your passion is, one, can you stand by it and defend it? But two, 10 years down the road, can you still be building this and this is something that you're still going to be proud of? And that was eye-opening for me because, I love money management, right? But I don't want to, and I like having money, but I don't want to be talking for 10 years about how I don't want to be Dave Ramsey, right? That's not my goal. And so I had to find a niche that I know a lot about effortlessly, but I would be happy to teach and also happy to stand behind my knowledge and expertise. And so I said like comedy. So the goal was like comedy and like playing with people, and I was calling it live improv. Man on the street stuff at night. And then I was like picking up, this was like pick up and approach. But then I was like, all right, back to value. How can I add value? What is my niche, right? And I kept on going, what's my niche? How can I say, this is what I do? And then from there, develop that content until this brand, until I can develop this, right? Get people to buy in. Because now I don't have to sell Dre Samp, right? It's still all through Dre Samp, but I'm teaching them information. Now they want to come to Dre Samp. And now I can share other stuff that I'm working on, right? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna picking up. So the pseudo game plan was I'll just do man on the street stuff, picking up women and approaching, and kind of like playing with people in improv, and we'll see how it goes. But it's still very loose, right? What is that niche, right? That's still vague. And then I was just sitting. I was walking Gianna. I was sitting on the couch, and it just clicked. Like I kept on like, what is my word? And like the word I had before was like social meditation. Social meditation, though, that will be my niche of like how to reinvigorate yourself through talking to people. And I was getting closer, but I still wasn't there, right? And then I snapped. I was like, social calibration. I was like, oh, social calibration, which is basically the act of like reading body language and facial cues and adjusting them in your own to essentially make people like you or make you more welcoming and inviting, personable. I was like, okay, yeah, I can actually and I started looking at social calibration, like one person talking about social calibration on TikTok, one person, or one or two. And so it's like, oh, okay, we got something here. Social calibration, that's a niche, right? Oh, and then it's like, but that might, if no one's looking it up, right, that might be a little bit too specific. So I talked about social calibration, and then it's like frame, how to win friends and influence, and then it was like how to be personable, how to be confident, how to win friends, how to be the life of the party, and then basically kind of what I landed on is, and then I was like ability to crush anxiety, sociability, but the niche started to come out of the shadows. It started to reveal itself to me as far as things that I'm uniquely, inherently good at. And yeah, sorry, I'm just reading through my notes. thought I wrote down. Oh yeah, I typed them down, and so yeah, it started to reveal itself to me about this idea of social. It was either like social uh, calibration, right? That was the first one, hard one, and then it was like social magnetism, or now like Charisma Kings. All of those domains are still available, and then it got me back to thinking of like RSD, Real Social Dynamics, and like those guys that I watched on YouTube a couple of years ago. It got me thinking about Game, Tom Torero. And while I don't want to do just straight up game, because I think 10 years from now, that feels, I don't want to be teaching game, right? But like the ability to talk to people, to talk to women, to talk to employers, to talk to a person in the elevator, like that skill of personability, sociability, charisma, magnetism, that I could talk about forever. And that is something that I think I am uniquely gifted at, inherently gifted, that I can learn more and study up on it, but I feel like I possess a lot of just like basic, just how I am as a person. I can turn on charisma and personability, sociability. I can turn on extrovertedness, and I know how to do it, and I know how to teach people to do it, and I know how to teach people to break out of their shells, because I forced myself to do it, and I followed directions, and I can teach those directions to people. And so then, yeah, that started coming out of the ether of basically what these RSD guys were doing. And then I realized all these RSD guys, so Real Social Dynamics, which was kind of just a pretty-ified rebranding of what it actually was, which was PUA, or pickup artistry, and that has a lot of controversy around it and the community. So then they rebranded themselves as Real Social Dynamics, and it was more just like talking to people and interacting, and then apparently they broke up, and now they're all doing their separate things. But the beautiful thing is what's happening is that they all have the content on YouTube. So much content on YouTube, like 5 ways to talk to girls, or like 3 things to be more confident, right? But these are all like 10, 15-minute videos that are all designed for the YouTube medium. But the beautiful thing is on TikTok, it's a 15-second medium, right? Not a 10-minute medium. So I can extrapolate all of that information, condense all this information that's already been prepared and concocted. I can condense it just like this, push it on my platform, grow it from there, and then I can take them back to YouTube with my own shit and take them back to Instagram. But now they're following me, and now I'm building this brand with knowledge I've plucked from other people, and all knowledge I also have. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the devious plan. And I have this thing. It's strange, but whenever I'm trying to do stuff in my life, I sometimes just have this thing in the back of my head that this feels right, or like this feels good, right? Just like when I started doing improv, and I didn't know what I was doing, but like from the very first day it felt right, and I kept on taking more classes, and I didn't know exactly why or what I wanted to get out of it, but I felt like I needed to be doing that. And this feels right, because I am excellent at talking to people, being personable, like breaking out of my shell, but also like winning people over. And I know how to like get you out of your comfort zone, right? I know I can teach you how to, because I've realized that there's so many people that are afraid of talking or talking to strangers, or there's just a lot of people that are shy, man. I remember for years I would sit and like just wanted to talk to girls and like just be swiping on Tinder and just be mad. And once I decided to do something about it, within 48 hours I was getting girls' numbers in my phones, right? And there's a lot to take care of your body and a lot in mind, but this ability to talk to people, simply that, it's not taught, right? And so yes, it's easy to talk to your friends, and it's easy to talk to maybe the doorman, but when conversations are getting important and you're shy or you're introverted and you have to give a speech. I mean, there's Toastmasters, right? But you have to you're doing an audition, or you're going in for an interview, or you're going out for a date, right? Or you want to talk to this girl. And you're nervous, right? I know a lot of different ways to, by the time you make it to that point, you're not nervous at all, and in fact, you're your most confident self. Because I've employed those tricks, and these are tricks that I've heard no one talk about, and I know that they can be successful because they're brain hacks that kind of rewire your brain. So I don't really want to focus specifically on day game, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to do anything on day game. But I don't want it to be a day game channel. I want it to be a charisma channel, charisma, magnetism, sociability, personability, social calibration. I think if I could do it in one word, it's talking to people, but it's, what was the other thing? It was like social intelligence. Social intelligence? I wrote down, I don't have any pants on, so I'll stay seated. Social intelligence, that was another one of the ideas. Oh my goodness, 20 minutes over. Well, I'm just spilling all the juices. All right, I guess I'm done for today. Thanks for watching. This has just kind of been a brain dump. I guess I should say that moving forward, my camera's gonna come in today. Very excited for that. And also, I'm not loving this background, so I wanna fix that. But moving forward, now that I feel like I have found my niche, or at least honing in on the direction of my niche, I want my content to reflect that. So these videos I'll probably put on private because I really wanted to be focused on, is it being charismatic, being able to talk to people? I'll have to figure out I have to a one sentence blurb, right? I thought of a book title name for 5 years down the road when this is all successful. It's called How to Unlock You, which is basically, you are that outgoing person. It's there. It's just, you just have to give yourself permission to be that person. Because a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are scared to say hi to a stranger or to express how they feel. They think it's wrong or it's creepy, right? Or a lot of people hate those awkward elevator interactions, or just like those moments where, just like thinking I have a lot to teach, and this is something I can teach, I can read books and I would be happy to read and learn more about it, but I know I can take someone, if someone came to me and said I'm shy, can you help me talk to females, right? Because that's really what every guy wants, right? And I can get them there, right? But I don't want to focus strictly on day game. It's going to be more about conquering this and being okay with being yourself, and that can mean not wanting to talk and being fine in that. But also, if you want to talk and you want to talk to people, I can teach you how to talk to people and get over that feeling of this isn't me, or I can't do this, because it is, and you can. Ooh, that's a good tagline. All right, I'll end it right there, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Peace.